Good morning, America, and good evening, Finland, Sweden, and Norway. It's another beautiful day here in Southern California. Today is a Veterans Day here in the US, where we honor all the ones who died for their country in the US in the wars, previous wars. Honor to them. Today we have a very exciting program. We will start with Cecilia Liv, and we will have a lot of things to talk about when it comes to electric transportation. We have airplanes, we have boats, we're going to talk something about batteries and so on. And it's going to be a very interesting day, so keep tuned in. And here we go. We're going to start with Cecilia Liv, who is trade counselor at the Swedish Embassy in Washington, D.C. And Cecilia, the word is yours.
Can you hear me now? Yes, perfect. I actually have two screens on, so I don't know which I'm on. I just wanted to make sure. Anyways, so great to be here. I'm sorry it didn't work in the beginning. We did test it, but unfortunately it didn't work when I was trying to speak. Anyways, it's great to be back in the Green Connection seminar. It's great that you've done this 10 years in a row. It's really awesome. Happy anniversary for that. Green Connection is really many ways. First of all, it's a triple helix event with academia, business, and government taking place, which is really important when you talk about these issues. It's also a Nordic event, which is really good. We want to work with the Nordics together. We're stronger together. So we appreciate that that's also the case here. The speakers are great. We just heard so many great things. I learned a lot already today. And of course, the topic, I mean, is so important. Sustainability is really top on everybody's mind. I mean, as we're speaking now, Glasgow, COP26 is taking place with all the world leaders discussing exactly this. How do we make this change to a more IT? What can companies do? What can innovation do? What can people do? What can countries do? And so on. So it's really a timely and great event. So thank you. I mean, you've done this for 10 years, so you definitely have, been ahead of time in that sense. Of course, Sweden is really, I mean, Sweden and the Nordic countries are really, doing a lot of this. It's not an issue in the Nordic countries whether we need to make a change. It's rather a matter of how we do it and how fast we do it. That's the political discussion. And how, as we've seen now, I mean, with the presentations now, the companies are in the forefront. It's not like the politicians have to push the companies to do this. The companies is actually ahead. And that's really great to see. Some companies have been doing this for decades, actually. And there's so much going on. We've heard a couple of those things, but just to mention a few other sectors where great things are taking place right now in Sweden is, of course, the fossil-free steel initiative, Hybrid, where they just produced the world's first fossil-free steel, and Volvo Group produced a vehicle, which is great. I mean, it's the mining sector, it's the steel sector, it's the transportation sector working together with this. It's really three sectors who've been heavily polluting are now working together to become green. So that's really a game changer, I would say. We have a lot of fashion industry in Sweden as well, and they look into, making new materials from wood, for instance, which is super exciting. A new thing is also building houses in wood. Of course, that's not a new thing, but to make them entirely in wood, the structure and everything, which is really great. Created a 20-story high building, a hotel and culture house just a few weeks ago, which is mostly made of wood, the foundation and everything. It's really, I mean, the future in a way. And of course, everything that we're doing, all these companies, all these changes that we're doing, most of these companies are present here in the US, and it's in many ways a perfect match, actually. I mean, we see what's going on here in the US with more interest in these issues, and of course, the big infrastructure bill that we follow closely here in Washington, D.C., of all the investments that will take place. And with all these Swedish companies present here and having done all the solutions and products and so on, it will be a great match. And we see this as a we have to take advantage of that right now. Within the mobility sector, I learned so much today. It's so exciting to hear about battery charging, boats, flying boats. This is awesome. It's really fantastic to learn all these things. So since, I mean, as Karin mentioned, is kind of our imagination. That's the important thing. The technology is already out there, and how do we adjust that to society? Companies are working with electronic cars right now, and of course we have to have the charging in place to make that work. In Sweden, we have this large Northvolt battery, the Northern Europe's largest battery factory being put up in Skellefteå. The freight sector is another super interesting sector with Einride, which is a Swedish company who just a week ago released that they're up and running here in the US now, having great partnership with GE and Volvo and other companies. So that's really exciting. I was also thinking about the experiment being done in Gothenburg. I mean, another aspect of electronic mobility is also the possibility of having buses go inside malls and apartment buildings and so on, because it has no emissions, it has no sound, so it's possible to kind of build for the future in that sense as well, which you don't have to walk from dark bus stops and so on. So safety is another issue which is super interesting. And just to stop on a personal note, I was together with a couple of other participants here with the Swedish American Chamber of Commerce in Phoenix last week, where I tried the autonomous, ordered an autonomous taxi, this Waymo test site that is going on in Phoenix and Chandler, which was really interesting actually, to order a taxi like an Uber, and then it comes a driverless car, and we just jumped in and off we went in the traffic. And the first minutes were a bit scary, and after like 4 minutes it felt totally safe and totally fine. So for me that was really cool to see, and I can only imagine how our kids, how their transportation with electrical and autonomous and everything. I mean, maybe don't even need a driver license, who knows, we can work and sleep and read books while we're being transported. So it's really fantastic to discuss these issues, to jump in and also learn everything we heard today from the presenters. So just some perspectives from my side, and thank you so much again. I'm happy the sound worked at this time. I'm sorry for the lack in the beginning, and thank you all the presenters for your great, it's very inspiring to learn more. So thank you from Washington and the embassy.